Hello everyone, good day. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to study about Benko Gambit, Move 5, E6. Let's go to the game between Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura and Grandmaster Daniel Dubum. Let's start by playing their moves. After d4, knight f6, c4, c5, d5, b5, which is the Benko Gambit, cx b5, a6, b a6. Other than ba6, there are other variations, which is b6 after a6. So we play b6 first. The idea of not taking the pawn at a6 is to create an isolated pawn in black's queenside position. So as we continue, e6, knight c3, knight d5, knight d5, ex d5, queen x d5, attacking the rook, knight c6, then knight f3, going to e5, then rook b8, avoiding the indirect attack of the queen to the rook, then knight e5, queen f6 protecting f7 mate, and the protection of c6 knight 2, knight c6, dc6. White has already created a double pawn for black, but looks okay to me because black is soon fully developed. Queen f3 tries to exchange the queen at f6 and will create another double pawn, but after bishop e7 will support it. If we analyze this position, I would prefer black's position because the pawn also at b6 is ready to be captured. It's well developed. Just one move, it castle already. So I like black. So let's go to the other variation after ba6. Then we go to g6 line. Knight f3, bishop g7, g3, which is the Fianchetto variation. Castles, bishop g2, d6, castles, knight bd7, h3, avoiding knight g4 to knight e5. So next move is queen a5, knight c3, bishop a6, rook e1, rook fb8, queen c2. So this is the Fianchetto variation of white. To be able to penetrate this position is to pressure the c4 square and the b5 square by knight e8, knight c7, knight b5. Also knight b6 to knight c4. The main idea why black is placing the rook at a8 and rook at b8 is to be able to penetrate one of those pawns like b2 and a2. The main plan is to get at least or capture at least one of these pawns to create an isolated pawn. That's the real motive, by the help also of this diagonal bishop here, which is slightly hiding, but there's venom out of it. It's dangerous bishop. So as we continue with other lines like knight c3, say after ba6, then e6, after g6 line, knight f3, bishop g7, then knight c3 line. So castles, d6, bishop d3, knight b7 castle, queen a5, h3 avoiding knight g4, and now bishop a6, queen, bishop takes, queen c2, same pattern, rook fb8, attacking those examples that I'd shown you. So again, we have considered another line. So another line again, which is bishop a6 from here. So instead of castling, black will play bishop a6. Then we continue e4, bishop xf1, king f, d6, g3, king castles, king g2, knight bd7, h3 avoiding knight g4, queen a5, bd2, rook fb8, queen c2, same pattern and same idea that black should execute. Be aware, just this bishop is threatening indirectly, but the right for white is a6 here, which is safe. So after queen a5, queen a6 in the later move, so that it won't be attacked by the bishop. Now we're going to the main line e6 after b a6 then e6. Why have I chose e6 line? I don't even know about this variation until I have seen the game of Grandmaster Dobo, and I'm really inspired to show it to you and to share it with you how valuable this opening idea. You can learn a lot of strategy and tactics out of it, and you can use it also as an opening weapon. So we continue with the main lines. Knight c3, ex d5, knight x d5, bishop e7 is what Grandmaster Dobov chose to respond after knight d5. But there are other variations out of that. Let us see. Say like knight x d5, queen x d5, knight c6, e4, takes, queen check, bishop d2, queen takes, bishop c3, bishop e7, sorry, attacking the pawn at g7, but there is rook g8, which is very good for black. Not good idea to take pawns just like that without any plans at all. So we go back to the position after bc3. Then there are other moves such as rook d1, which is attacking the d7 pawn check, but with the good move of knight d4 blocking the bishop and the attack from d7. The knight is lesser value than the bishops at c3 because bishop at c3 is really threatening. So exchanging is a great idea. So let's see, bd4, cd4, a3 avoiding queen a2, castles, knight f3, then rook a b8 takes d5. This pawn push is a great idea since the king right now cannot castle because there's a diagonal controlled by the queen. So just in case queen takes, then rook a fd8, sorry, queen a2 check. That is the end of the game since it cannot stop from covering that check. If takes, then the queen is hanging. So the only move is knight d2, takes, rook takes, king takes, rook d8 check, king c1, then queen d3 is winning, wins the game. So we go back to the variation after rook d1. So there is the other variation other rook d1, which is knight e2 instead of rook d1. After knight e2, then castles queen c4 is threatening pawn at a2 and e4, which is having a good game by black. So I don't complain with this position as long as pieces are active and all pieces are into right plan to execute. So let's go back to the main line after BE7. So considering this line, if Hikaru is trying to attack the setup of black, but how? If I'm white here, I just play conservatively or just consider develop because there are too many tricky moves by black here. So I follow what Hikaru would play like e3, which is really safe. So if just in case I would take the knight e7 here, like knight e7. If we go back, say knight e7, then queen e7, bf4, d5. If bishop b8 takes, check, bishop d7, queen a3, c4 takes. Black is okay. The pawn at b2 is easy to capture. If rook b1, bishop f5, pawn here is easily to be captured also. I prefer black position, well developed. So as we come back again from the knight e7, queen e7 line, we go to the other variation after d5, then knight f3. As we go to this line, still there are ways to recover that pawn at a6 since it's already there hanging anyway. So as knight e4, rook c1, bishop takes, rook takes, castle. But all pieces of black is very active. Let's see how it goes. Knight d2 takes, queen takes, then knight a5, threatening knight b3 and knight c4. Comparing this knight to this bishop, I prefer this knight because it creates pressure on this pawn's later. So even though it's one pawn down, there is great activity by the knight. So let's go back to the main variation now. Say after e3, black just castles, knight e2, knight takes, queen takes, rook takes. This rook is fantastic because it goes to g6, it goes to e6, it goes to d6. It's very active. Then knight c3, bishop is attacking the rook, then rook d6. Queen cannot take the c5 pawn because there's discovered check. After queen f3, knight c6, b2 developing to castle, bishop b7 indirectly attacking the queen, castles, then queen a8. A very good move supporting the bishop. If you can see the position of white here, bishop c1 inactive, can't go to d2 because of the rook. Rook here, cannot go out, cannot play, and there's no play at all. So it's cramped position. Only way to make this bishop active is by way of pushing the e4 pawn. But there's a problem. There's a knight hop at d4. So to compensate with, at least the position of white is now open, as the bishop will go to e3 or some squares to use his ability as a dark square bishop. So we go now as queen h5, then black plays bishop e4. Exchanging the black bishop to the knight at c3, I don't agree with, but there's another way to move, is knight takes bishop. If queen takes, then there's bishop a6 attacking the rook also. Queen has to avoid that, then bishop capture. Let me show you again. If it's knight e2, then bishop e4. I would prefer black again here. Two bishop towards king side, double attack, because the rook is soon going to g6, have a central pawn, and there's a promise of a winning position on black side here. But let's go to the main variation as it goes. Queen takes, bishop avoids, just stay at d1 to stay two bishops against knight and bishop of black. Rook g6, mating, king at g2, protect, check, queen takes, then a4. This position now is balanced because Grandmaster Hikaru has great a4 pass pawn, and it's a dangerous pass pawn. Black has to do something to pressure also, so Grandmaster Dubu played bishop f6, penetrating the pawn b2, bishop e3, just allowing to capture the b2 by white. But also bishop also is attacking c5, c4, queen f5, so that it will watch the d5 from promoting. Queen c4 attacking the a4 pawn, queen b5. What a move. It allows exchanges, but then Hikaru missed this move from black. Rook g2, king g2, queen g4, king h1, queen f3, king g1, queen g4 check is a perpetual check, therefore it is a draw. All chess players who watch this presentation globally, thank you so much for the support in watching my YouTube channel.